Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and here's Week in Review. And I'm going to be talking about the streaming films that I watched this week, and from Netflix DVD, and the different shows that I've been watching as well. And starting off, in terms of streaming, I got to check out Rattlesnake, which was a new film from Netflix, and it's a pretty straightforward, creepy, unnerving kind of thriller, and it's pretty spooky, and, you know, if you're really into those kinds of, like, horror thriller kind of films, and, like, it's short and sweet to the point, and that's the kind of thing that you like, I'm sure you'll enjoy this, and it makes it easier because it's on streaming. There wasn't anything particularly special about it, but, it's a solid thriller. It's out there around the Halloween time, so hey, go check it out on Netflix. And I also actually got to watch This One's for the Ladies, and this was something that I rented on the AMC On Demand. And this film was about male strippers. And it really was interesting how it looked into their career and looked at it in a positive way. And it did deal with the stigma that goes along with being a stripper. And the thing is, it's like, it really deals with these people and these real people. And is it always super interesting? Not necessarily when you're just chatting with these people, but it feels very real, it's really grounded, and you get engrossed in these people's lives. And some of them have some very interesting stories. And I'm just going to warn you, they don't explicitly show anything, but they don't leave a whole lot up to the imagination either. So, just putting that out there, because I'm pretty sure this was rated, like, beyond R, honestly. Probably the biggest film that I got a chance to stream this week was Hard 8, Paul Thomas Anderson's early film with Philip Baker Hall and John C. Reilly, Samuel L. Jackson, Gwyneth Paltrow. I absolutely love this film, and it definitely feels like a Paul Thomas Anderson film. And I'm kind of upset that it took me so long to check this film out. This is on Amazon, and I absolutely loved it. And it's a really impressive film. It has a hard edge to it. It has some great performances. John C. Reilly in an early dramatic role, because, he was really there at the beginning of Paul Thomas Anderson's career with Magnolia and Boogie Nights and with Hard 8. And there's some twists and turns. It's unexpected. It's intense. And you really care about some of these characters, and they're very interesting and layered people. This is definitely a really cool crime thriller. Really go check this out on Amazon. And then I watched Holiday in the Wild on Netflix, and it's a Netflix movie. It's one of the women from Sex and the City going to Africa after her husband dumps her, and, falling in love with the only white man in the whole entire place, Rob Lowe. He's a pilot and an artist. Yep, that's about it. Not very interesting. And it's very blah. It feels like a Netflix movie. It's just watchable enough where it's like, okay, I can throw this on, honestly. I did watch The King on Netflix, but I'm giving that a full review because great film. And I really hope people go check it out. Also watch Dolomite Is My Name. Also giving that a full review, because I really hope people go check that out. But if you're watching this, go check those out as well. They're great. On Netflix DVD, I watched Adrift with Shailene Woodley and Sam Claflin. And it's a really solid film that, like, you spend this time in flashbacks really growing connected to this couple, and you really care about them by the time that they get to the point where they are adrift and stuck and trying to survive on the seas. And it's intense, it's thrilling. I really appreciated this film. It's something I would recommend. I think this is streaming on one of those premium channels, but I got to watch it on Netflix DVD. And then I watched The Little Stranger with Donald Gleason, and Donald Gleason was great. This film, the trailers made this seem like a straight horror film. There's a little bit of that, but it's very much a gothic drama, and, like, it's not quite like Crimson Peak, where it's like there's still straight up, like, ghosts and stuff like that, but this thing, it's debatable. There's some moments, but the thing is, it really focuses on this drama and this classism. And it was something a little special, and I appreciated it. It wasn't a great film, but I think it's definitely worth checking out. And I know for a fact that's streaming somewhere. I feel like it was Cinemax, but I'm forgetting. I use this one website where I check up on everything. Now, on the tube, and last week's My Hero Academia, which they wound up delaying the new episode that came out yesterday. So this was from last weekend, episode 3 of season 4, and you really get a chance to get to know All Might's former sidekick, and there's just a really cool fight scene in this, and it's really impressive, and this season's slowly building through things, and it's interesting because this is the first one I'm not binge watching, so it's so interesting getting these little bites along the way instead of streaming this all the way through, where this show's definitely streaming right into episode to episode, but I'm really getting a chance to drink it in since I'm not streaming through this new season. And it was a fun episode. I really appreciated it. I'm interested to see where things go. And then I watched the second episode of Watchmen, and boy did that bring up some interesting things. And you're starting to really get a sense of how this world got set up with this inherent racism everywhere in society and this racial war going on in America in this Watchmen world. And one of the most interesting things is with Jeremy Irons' character putting on this play about the origins of Dr. Manhattan. And it's very obvious he's Ozymandias. Very obvious. But really getting a chance to see some of the strange interactions with him. But then there's definitely some tension growing, and I'm looking forward to watching the new episode tonight after I'm done filming. But really seeing where this goes, especially with Don Johnson's character and his fate in the show, and especially where that mystery is going, and then with Tim Blake Nelson seems to be having a very interesting role, and then our main character finding out she has a strange connection to somebody who just pops up in the show. And I'm really interested to see where things go. Big night for HBO tonight because they have that and the premiere of his Dark Materials, which I'll definitely be talking about next week. There's no Bob's Burgers last Sunday, so I didn't get to watch a new episode of that. But boy, did I get to watch a new episode of The Good Place. And it had an interesting narrative setup where it's Michael talking to Bad Janet and basically telling her a story about why he believes in humanity. And it was a really endearing episode, and I had a lot of fun with it, and it was an interesting dynamic, and really getting to see some very special emotions and moments from Michael in this episode, and being okay. Which is also why Michael's by far my favorite character on that show. Ted Danson's a revelation for that show. He's so amazing. Everyone else is so great too, but he is just great. And it's interesting to see because the story kind of throws a wrench into their plans of what they're doing with the new setup of The Good Place and seeing where things are going. But the actual story didn't drive the plot anywhere in a particularly unpredictable or surprising direction. But those character moments from Michael interacting with Bad Janet was probably the most important and resonating part of that episode, and I really appreciated that. Now, I finished the Kominsky Method second season that got released on Netflix, and it's a lot of fun. Made me laugh a lot. A lot of Alan Arkin old man jokes. And Michael Douglas, obviously. And this season puts them in some interesting places, especially because towards the end of the season, they introduce a very interesting character into Alan Arkin's character's life. And it's his grandson, played by Haley Joel Osment, and dealing with Scientology. And that put an interesting spin on things. And this season leaves Alan Arkin and Michael Douglas's characters in very interesting spots, and really adding some heavier stakes for Michael Douglas, and you're really wondering what's the impact going to be, a lasting impact on him, and seeing where things are going. So I am excited for a third season of the Kominsky Method. Then I watched the first season of Harvey Birdman, and my girlfriend highly recommended this. This is on Hulu, and my God, the lampooning of Hanna-Barbera shows is so amazing in this show. Whether it's Scooby and Shaggy getting arrested for possession, or Johnny Quest's dad, Dr. Quest, getting taken to court for custody of Johnny, and all these crazy things, and like Harvey Birdman going to prison, and this was a very interesting show, and it's really funny. They're like 12-minute episodes too, so it burns through pretty quickly, but it's really amusing. The satire is great. It really takes your expectations of what you watched as a kid in these Hanna-Barbera shows. Oh, and Fred Flintstone as like a mob boss. Oh, if you've ever watched that video of Raging Fred, where they have Fred and Barney with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci from Raging Bull over them, that episode of Harvey Birdman really reminded me of that. It's a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I've been rewatching the first season of Hey Arnold, back on my nostalgia train. And this is also on Hulu. I'm pretty sure it's on Nick Hits too, but honestly Hulu's a little smoother to use than Amazon Prime, so I'm watching on Hulu. And I'm through 14 episodes, and really bringing back how this show was next level for like kids TV at that time when I was growing up, because even the maturity wise, it's like it has this jazz score, it has very mature themes. That whole entire Christmas episode with Mr. Huynh and his daughter is devastating, and the whole relationship with Helga and her feelings for Arnold, and like the whole Torvald thing where it's like trying to help him tutor him, and there's just so many fun different kinds of episodes here and the whole Dino Spumoni thing. Oh, perfect mixture of Frank Sinatra's voice and Dean Martin's name and look. But all these little things that are great references, so many great characters, like the whole entire thing where Oscar Kokoschka winds up living with Arnold for a little while, and the boundaries, and this deals with some really mature themes in it. And Hey Arnold's such a great show, and I'm looking forward to finishing the first season. And then I am so close. I am 9 out of 10 episodes into the third season of Atypical, and I love watching our main character going off to college, and that bringing so many different kinds of new places for him to go in this show. And I just love it so much. And because what Sam's doing in this show, and watching him deal with the college thing and all the stereotypical college things, and then his relationship with Zahid is a little strained in this season. Zahid gets a girl, and that's pretty cool. But honestly, my favorite character by far is Casey in this show. And where the second season left off, and where this season goes, and where I'm at, I'm really interested to see where her storyline goes from here, because she's really being torn in two different directions between like her boyfriend Evan and then Izzy, and I really love Casey a lot. She's definitely my favorite character, and she's so interesting. She's a lot of fun, but she has a lot of emotional baggage and makes for really interesting television. And then I really still don't like Elsa, the mom, and like I'm glad that Doug, played by Michael Rappaport, the dad, finally gets to acknowledge some of the pieces in their falling apart marriage. But, like, still, I feel like Elsa is, it's like, she's still wrong. But the thing is, they're both wrong. And it's like, do I want to see their marriage get back together? It's like, I'm not sure. And I'm interested to see where this last episode goes because I only have one episode left. But I'm really interested to watch that. And I'll probably get it done tomorrow morning, especially with all the other things I have to get done. But it's a great show. I love Atypical. And it makes me appreciate, especially when I work with students, because I work at a university, and seeing students like that. And my girlfriend is a BCBA, and she works with kids a lot like this, who are all on the spectrum, and really getting a better understanding of, like, getting inside their head. And this show's great, and I love it. And that kind of wraps up my week in review. If you want to comment about anything and chat about any of these shows or movies in more detail, please comment. Let me know what you think. And thank you as always for supporting your Wasteland reviewer.